Hello, everyone. Welcome to our AMA. I am Kenny, ritestream social media community manager, and I have the privilege to welcome Jamie, our CPO, and of course, Riaz, our CEO. Hello, gentlemen.
Kenny, hello.
Hello, Kenny. Hey, Jamie.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
Yeah,
and
good.
how is
guys?
everybody else out there? I hope you guys are having a good time.
Yeah. We can see everyone in the chat there. I hope everyone's doing good. First and foremost, before we get started, just want to know, we just had Valentine's Day. What special dates or plans did you have for the Valentines?
I'll let Riaz answer that, right? Because I suspect his is probably better than ours, no matter what it is. Or certainly more romantic, I'd suggest.
Actually, you know what? I'm kind of a little bit anti-Valentine's Day because it's become so commercial. So we actually end up celebrating on a different day in the week. So my wife and I will be going for a lovely date lunch tomorrow. But I did buy her a nice present for Valentine's Day. So there you go.
Wicked.
Lovely.
That's good. As I think I mentioned to Kenny, my daughter actually got far better Valentine's presents than I did, or that I gave. But I did splash out, and I treated the missus to a takeout McDonald's. So who says
romantic. You are absolutely
right.
man.
No, I didn't want to mention it. I don't want to brag, but yeah. So that was me. What about you, Kenny?
I had a romantic time with my dog, crying, crying into a glass of booze, wondering what am I doing? Why don't they love me? I didn't really do anything apart from just watched a nice bit of telly. Watched some episodes of The Bad Batch season 2 on Disney Plus. Just watched a couple of that.
Oh, I haven't watched that. Is it good?
Yeah, I really got into like the expanded universe of like Star Wars. I mean, less so Disney with the sequel trilogy, but like, yeah, the other stuff that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are doing are really good, like the Clone Wars animated series and all like the stuff from after that. It was really good. It kind of builds up the universe in a really richer way, which of course interlocks with like what they're doing with Andor and the Mandalorian and stuff like that. So that's what I did. That was my Valentine's Day.
Sounds lovely.
Absolutely. Or I could have gone with you with the cliche. I think every day should be Valentine's Day. You should always be nice and do things for your partner, right? That's like the default stock option.
And you know what? That's what I was telling my daughter today as well. That you love someone, every day is Valentine's Day, and you got to treat them that way every single day. So there you go.
Exactly.
Words of wisdom.
You love your kids, your parents, everyone, your family. You got to love them every day and tell them, let them know. And if you're watching, Mum and Dad, I do love you.
I feel the love here. Beautiful thing.
Absolutely. So what we'll do is we'll go through some of the questions, and then at the very end of the questions that I'm asking here, we'll take some questions live from the chat. So if you have any questions at the end, we'll put a little message for you so you can write your questions to us. But the first question I want to ask is, what successes were made in 2022?
Jamie, do you want to take that one, mate?
I knew you'd push that one. So I think from a personal perspective, there's probably like 3 things that I would say were successes in 2022. I certainly don't think any of us would sit here and say that everything involved with the project was a complete success. But I think when asked that question, the things that spring to mind are the team that we ended up building, particularly towards the end of the year. Like, we transitioned through a few people throughout 2022, but we brought on board Kenny towards what was it, like August, September time, Kenny? Maybe
around that time.
Which helped us to really kind of bring more dedicated expertise onto the project. We've obviously got a really good team of mods who work with us, and we started to build up a lot more a proper community around the project. The second would obviously be the launch of the mobile app on Android. I think that, as I'm sure everybody who's been paying close attention to the project, we've had a lot of issues with getting the app shipped through to Apple. And obviously, as part of our roadmap for 2023, which Riaz and I will touch on at some point, we'll talk further about how we're looking to get around that. But I think being able to launch the app, get it live, have the content on there, utilizing the content, giving us feedback, allowing us to kind of set the path for how we move, how we best move forward. I think that was a big win. And then thirdly, and actually I'm going to add a fourth. Thirdly, I would say that the work that we've done with our metaverse partners and having like a real focus on something which is going to be a proper niche for ritestream for us to take with quite a lot of momentum from the back end of last year into this year is the license, being able to be in a position where we are uniquely placed fully licensed content to metaverse. Metaverse is right across the board, and obviously that's had quite a bit of traction towards the end of the last year, bringing on board relationships with the likes of kind of project, the Raka team, Galaxy Arena. It seems like we've got a really good thing going on there, and we can kind of touch on how we plan to move forward with that with a lot more gusto throughout this year. And then fourth, I would say like the rebranding work that we did towards the back end of last year, I think has made a big difference in terms of the way that the project's perceived. Now, we still need to make sure that that's kind of mirrored across all of the collateral and all of the touch points that we have. But I think when you look at some of the key elements of the project that were delivered in Q4 and what that has meant for us to like move forward in Q1, particularly with a couple of other new members of the team that we brought on board, it means that we've got like a really good, clear route to where we want to get to by the end of the year. So, I'd say they're the biggest successes. I wouldn't stand it. I don't think any of us would stand here and go or sit here and say everything was a complete success. But I feel like we've got like a really clear route to where we want to get to by the end of 2023 and beyond.
No, and I think, Jamie, you made some really good points there that we may not have nailed everything, but then we have delivered a lot more than many projects through that early in the journey. And I think the other thing that we did that was a big success was actually our fundraise and the token launch, which has allowed us to actually build out the team and get to this point. And there's so much more to come, which you will see in the roadmap a bit later on. So, super proud of where we are at today.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys. Another one here we have is, which has been popping up in our community, is the when will the restaking of rights continue? Because I think the restake has ended now. Staking is now ended, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I can take that. So presently we've kind of been weighing up the options as to how we best move forward with staking for ritestream and the right token. So historically we've been working with Alliance Block, who have been great to work with, and they've allowed us to build provide like a service where people can stake the right coin. What we're looking to do, and again, this is kind of something which we'll touch on in the roadmap, is to build our own internal staking mechanism that will sit directly on ritestream.io that doesn't necessarily then need to go via a third party. And that's planned for later on in the year. Now, clearly what I would say is that if there is an overriding demand, as with anything, we're kind of building flexibility into everything that we're doing from a project perspective. So we may find that over the next kind of couple of months, depending on how everything else on the project is going, if we need to spin up some new pools to support staking via Alliance Block again, because we certainly would want to work with them again, that's something which we'll put in place. But for now, it's something which will be made clear when we look on the roadmap. We know that we need it, but we kind of want to be able to be in a position where we're in complete control of that ourselves rather than going via a third party.
Brilliant. Okay. Next question is, when are you adding more films, TV series, and documentaries to the ritestream app?
You know what? I can take that one. I'm actually working with a content team as we speak to actually identify some really cool piece of content that we'll be updating on the ritestream app. And also it'll be a mandate to our team to ensure that that is regularly updated and we get fresh inventory on a monthly basis at the very least. So that's well in play, and you'll be seeing a whole bunch of fresh content appearing in the next couple of weeks.
Brilliant. Thank you, Riaz. And when and how will Apple users be able to use the app? I know you touched on this before, Jamie, earlier, but maybe you can go into a little bit more.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, can we circle back? Can we circle back to this question?
Yeah,
if there are more questions, because I kind of feel like to add more context rather than like I don't want to keep saying, "Hey, the roadmap," when we can just talk through the roadmap.
We want to cut straight to the chase.
I want to cut straight to the
Why
chase.
not?
Yeah. Unless there are other questions that are something which we haven't discussed that I'd be quite interested to answer, or at least view. But for now,
I'll tell you what we'll do.
That.
What we'll do then is we'll go and talk about the big drop, the big reveal, and then we'll take some questions. We'll take more questions from the chat. That's how we'll do it.
Cool.
Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah.
Lovely, Kenny. Right. Great work.
Here we go. So, what is the roadmap for ritestream in 2023?
There it is.
Okay, cool.
And there we are.
So actually, Kenny, you might want to just remove that one and put up the one that I sent through to you last, because there's a couple of tweaks on there.
Oh, okay.
So the one that I sent through to you on chat is slightly different.
Oh, okay. So it's updated. I see. That I can do. One moment.
I don't want
to. It's never as easy as you think, is it? There's always something.
There is always something. There's always something when you're concerned, Kenny.
Oh, most definitely. What we'll do is having a bit of a.
Either way, whilst you're like trying to get that sorted, so as I think everyone's kind of aware, and we've alluded to previously, from like September onwards, and we spent quite a lot of Q4 working with a third party to help kind of build out what does the entire ritestream ecosystem look like. And I guess with those kind of three core components around the launchpad, the marketplace, and the streaming platform, like what does that look like? How is the right token kind of baked into that? And what does that mean for the organization in terms of like resources and priorities? So what we then were able to do is take that and at the first couple of weeks of the year, start to then tie that into a proper working roadmap for 2023, which we'll obviously do updates on throughout the year. The team will, and which will sit on the ritestream website so that everybody's kind of got visibility on it itself.
Kenny, did you find?
I did. I didn't want to interrupt your flow. I didn't want to ruin your flow.
It's all right, mate. You could have brought it in seamlessly. There we go.
Sorry.
So no, it's all good. So we've kind of broken this down into quarterly components. And as you can see, there's quite a bit on there. I think when I was talking about the team, I think it's probably worth mentioning that another big win for us is we brought in some, like a really strong developer lead towards the back end of last year, who has a kind of wealth of blockchain experience to kind of sit in our internal development team and help to kind of grow that out, which is a big win for us. And just having Alex on board has helped us dramatically in terms of just doing some more things, kind of changing our thinking in terms of how we approach things. So in terms of Q1 then, there's going to kind of be three key components to that. One is we know that there are a number of bugs and quality of life fixes that are required for the mobile app experience. A number of them, as I think Kenny has been updating everybody on, they've been updated already. But there's still much more that we need to do just to make it a more pleasurable experience and to ensure that, I guess, like where possible, we're updating the branding to match the new ritestream style. So we're going to be focusing very much on that to ensure that everything's working there. The second is around our metaverse licensing product as a whole. So the way that we've been working with our partners today is we've essentially been almost kind of building bespoke what's the word I'm looking for? Solutions for their projects. What we want to do is, I guess, like solidify this into something much more concrete that we can take to all of our partners right across the board. And it's a very simple, easy solution for them to use, where it's the minimal amount of fuss at their end to provide, like, you know, fully licensed content to serve up in cinema, metaverse cinemas throughout all of our partnerships. And then, as I kind of alluded to earlier, there's quite a bit of work that we still need to do around the token and the project collateral. So obviously we've updated the website, we've updated social media. I think CoinGecko has been updated. There's still a few bits and pieces that we need to do around obviously updating the roadmap, making sure that any other kind of mentions to ritestream are linking through to the right places and using the right branding. There are a few things that we still need to address on CoinMarketCap, but it's just really to make sure that by the end of the quarter, we're giving the token the best possible place to kind of grow from Q2 onwards. Now, when it comes to Q2, I think one of the biggest things on there is, and we've been talking about this for a while, is our Crypto Nights NFT mint. Riaz, do you want to give some flavor around Crypto Nights, where we're at, and maybe even touch on who we're working with to help us bring this to market?
Yes, 100%. So I think a lot of the community are probably familiar with the Crypto Nights project, because we had mentioned it last year as well, that we'll be launching effectively what is a Shark Tank for crypto. And those of you who know a bit about me, I've been producing television shows for a long time, got deep domain expertise in that space. But our whole vision has always been to make Crypto Nights the first project for the ritestream Launchpad. And to that end, we are working with the guys at Engine Starter, who I'm sure most of the community would know. They were part of our token launch as well. And they're helping us with the roadmap to actually launch the Crypto Nights NFTs, which all of you can participate in. And we'll be announcing mint dates in the coming weeks. Where we are at the moment, we are identifying the nights for the project. So, you know, these are the OGs of crypto, and we want to make something really authentic that resonates with the people, and gives a real platform for projects to get discovered and be launched from. So that is Crypto Nights. Over to you, Jamie.
Thanks, mate. So obviously there's quite a lot going on there, and it is we've kind of touched on and shared some of the visual identity work and NFT work that we've put together for this so far. And as Riaz has stated, you know, working now, having the Engine Starter team on board to help us build this out is obviously delivering and giving an extra layer of expertise to the project. So I'm super excited to see where this goes, because I think it will be a popular collection. I think it'll do incredibly well, and obviously there are going to be a number of incentives baked into that for followers of the project and right token holders. Now, the reason why I also wanted to bring up the roadmap is around the Apple app question, right? And so what we're actually looking to do, long story short, we have the app on Android, and that was, you know, we didn't have the smoothest of releases, but, you know, it's there, it's available worldwide, and people are able to download it and consume content. We have had numerous issues with getting it live on Apple, however, which I think has been communicated to the community over the last few months. What we have decided to do is, rather than continue to go down that route, is we want to create a platform which is essentially kind of device agnostic and is available to all. And so we're looking to create a browser-based video streaming service, which will essentially replace the mobile app version. So essentially, you will be able to access the content on the ritestream library, and you know, be able to earn right rewards, digest the content, share the content, review the content, but it's all going to be browser based so that everybody has access to it and everybody can utilize it as they see fit. So obviously that's a bit of a change to our original plan, but we think it's going to give the best possible result and not put any restrictions on what it is that we want to do. So that's quite a big change, but I think it's going to be a really positive one. I've also put on there a secret TV project. I don't want to talk about this too much. People in the community may be able to guess like where this is going, but we're also sounding out a number of different avenues around launching something to do with crypto in the TV space. And that's all I'm going to say at this point in time, because it's exciting, but it's very much in its embryonic stages. But like I said, there's probably...
And it is huge.
And
that's the other reason why we can't reveal too much, because there's a ton of work to be done to actually get this baby going. But it'll come in due course.
And then so that's Q1 and Q2. So for the second half of the year, I think the big thing that we really want to make sure that we can deliver is the launchpad itself, right? I think if you think back to, in its very simplest form, ritestream was always about being able to democratize the creator economy. Ritestream was very much based on Riaz's real life experience of the inability for creators to be able to get funding for their projects, right? And really what that means is that there's a whole world of, you know, creators out there who are just failing to get their stories told because of the way that funding for TV and movie projects comes about. And so we're really keen to laser focus the project on delivering to that as best as possible within 2023, because ultimately that's what ritestream is all about. Yeah, there's an app and yeah, there's this, but this is ultimately about, we want people who are creators to be able to get funded. That's it. We want good stories to be able to get told. So Q3 and Q4 is very much about gearing ourselves up to be able to deliver that before the end of the year. So there's going to be a lot of work that goes into Q3 with the UX, the UI, really building out the development of the project. Alongside that, we've also touched on, as I touched on earlier, there is, we want to have our own token staking mechanism built into the platform. We're aiming for a Q3 launch for that. And we built out the relationship last year with Banksa. So anybody who goes along to Banksa and its partners can directly buy RITE token with via fiat, via credit card. We want to get that integrated onto the platform at the same time as staking also. So it just gives users much more ability to utilize the site effectively as they see fit. And then Q4, the focus really is around building out and the remaining elements of the launch pad and pushing that into a live state, starting to get projects funded, which will be super exciting. But obviously there is a ton of work that needs to be done in relation to that. And then clearly kind of planning for 2024, which is something that we want to be able to do in line with the community being like a key part of that, right? So we kind of had our 2022 roadmap. Elements of that were delivered, and what we really want to do this year is say, here's our plans. We're going to break it down by quarters. We'll obviously keep updating you guys. Kenny's here all the time. The man never sleeps. So you can see what we plan to do in each of the quarters, and then almost do like a kind of assessment with the community at the end of the year in terms of, okay, so where did we get to? I mean, we all know crypto, right? So we could get to the middle of the year and this could look completely different depending on like things that are way outside of our control, or new things that come to market, new opportunities, etc. So I think to be able to do that kind of planning for 2024 onwards with the community part of that will be an important part of how we move the project forwards. But as I'm sure you can agree, this kind of nicely compartmentalizes key elements for the project, and it gives the team kind of like a real focus to be able to essentially kind of get their head down and work on throughout the year. So Kenny, hopefully that helps to give a little bit more context, mate, rather than the individual questions.
Absolutely, I think it does. And yeah, thank you for sharing this with us. We've been kind of dying to get this out there. We just had to make sure that we all kind of were settled on it and everything could go, which is why yeah, we went through many iterations and things and many meetings to finalize this. So yeah, happy that we've got it out, and you guys can now actually, you know, see what we're working towards and be with us for on our journey as we build and develop the platform that you all want us to build. So now what I would like to do, if there's no other glitches or issues, is we would like to take some questions from you guys in the chat. So feel free to drop your questions now. You can drop them in the chat, and the good ones are going to get answered by these guys. So they'll answer any of the questions that you put forward to us. So okay. I think I saw some actually a bit at the start. What I'll do is I'll have a look through and see if there's any I can pick. This one's actually just came in now. Problem with the project, there's been ongoing info for holders. Can you hold a couple of AMAs a month? This will give the community something to discuss on your socials, get excited behind. And yes, I'd agree. That's something that we plan on doing. And each and every, we'll try to aim for every two or 3 weeks to kind of update you guys. We'll do like a community update, a catch up, either in video format, or it will be in our Telegram and Discord, or it will be on Twitter. So we will make sure that you're kept up to date through the journey, through any updates or any information that we have. If there's anything else onto that, guys, or I think I pretty much answered it.
No, I think that nails it, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see here. Is your platform suitable for crypto beginners, or does it only appeal to professional users? And what's your, well, we went through the goals this year, but
well, I mean, I would say, like, ultimately, and this is something that we've always been kind of conscious of, is that for any project really to get large scale recognition, it needs to be friendly, because we obviously want to remove any high barriers to entry that exist around utilizing blockchain or crypto. The other thing that's probably worth pointing out is that a large volume of the people who we want to utilize the platform, they're not, you know, like, these are creators. These are people who want to create. They're not people who necessarily, you know, they may be interacting with crypto on the side. Obviously, there's more and more people do, but ultimately, we want it to be easy to use, easy to set up, easy to understand, written in a language that is, like, very, you know, it's not full of jargon. It's not full of kind of keywords or buzzwords. It's just, this is it. This is how you do it. It's something that kind of holds their hand throughout the process. So I would say that, yeah, we're kind of conscious of trying to make something that we don't really see, like, ultimately, like, ritestream is it's a blockchain project, but it's about trying to get people funding for films. Like, it's not, we never really see it as like a crypto project. It's a blockchain project that has crypto attached to it, but it's something that needs to have far more wide scale attention in order for it to succeed. And in order to get that, we really need to keep it as simple as possible. So short answer, yeah, we'll make it simple.
Keep it simple. All right. So this one's actually from one of our users from Telegram that one of our mods has put in the chat. This is from Maiden. Where do you think ritestream gets the strength to compete with new players?
Do you want me to take that, Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a response, but yeah, go for it.
A couple of words.
Sure. Where we get our strength is a couple of factors. deep domain expertise, having been in this industry for a long time, and having the relationships that we can tap into within the industry. Plus, we are experienced business people. We have had several different startups prior to this, been in business, built businesses, exited businesses. So we kind of know the journey. And I think that's our competitive advantage, that we have the resilience to actually go through the challenges that will exist, especially in a young industry, and also to be able to tap into our experience in the Web2 domain as well to actually really make this huge. Anything to add to that, Jamie?
No, I'd agree. I'd completely agree. I think it's like the space is so new, and we see so many projects kind of fall by the wayside, or that get massive amounts of hype and then don't necessarily deliver. Whereas I think like we're really conscious about trying to treat this like a business, like it's a business, and it needs to have sustainable long-term growth. And I think we've definitely learned a lot. Building anything in Web3 is difficult, right? It's a volatile market, but a lot of those things that the team has kind of learned from their experiences in other organizations, be it Web2 or Web3, they can apply to the project to ensure that it operates as effectively as possible to achieve its goals. So I think, yeah, I'm as much of a sucker for the latest NFT collection, but for example, and it will get hyped and I'll buy into it. But what happens that, like 90% of the time, my trading strategy is not exactly the most effective one. So I think, like it's the fact that we do have expertise. And I think like, even if you look at the team here, right, you've got Kenny, who's very much Web3. He's a Web3 guy. He's a Web3 native. And Riaz at the other end of the spectrum, which coming from a completely different industry, but with a huge amount of experience. I think we've got like a nice blend to be able to make something successful. Like we've got a variety of different people from different cultures all over the globe. And I think that really helps. And also, quite frankly, we actually want this to succeed because it's something we all believe in. So not saying the others don't, but yeah, that.
Well, they can't disprove it. Right. So this is from someone on our Telegram community, from Kim Young. Bringing the movie industry to the metaverse is a really big deal. What are the long-term gains and benefits of investors if they choose to invest into the project?
So I obviously don't want to speculate too much about long-term gains, but what I would say is that like the metaverse is so like it's almost like very difficult to get your head I find it difficult to get your head around like where we're at in that journey and where we will get to. I don't think actually I'm not saying this because I believe in like buying into the hype or anything, but I think it's very inevitable that metaverse adoption will become much more prevalent, like right across the board, right? It kind of makes sense that that's where we're heading towards. And again, like things will go through the kind of hype cycles, but long term, I don't see a future without that. Now, I think like where we're really well placed at the moment is when you speak to projects right across the board, they don't even necessarily need to be in a metaverse. People want access to content that they know that they can use on their platforms without getting content strikes or anything like that, right? So we are able to be in a position to deliver content and make it a lot easier for anybody who wants to implement that content to A, digest it, and then B, serve it up to their users, and without having to worry about anything else. And I think for me, that's a really big win. And I think that from the conversations that we've had with our partners already and where we've seen successes, like it's kind of a bit of a no-brainer for people to implement this. And that's why we've seen a really good turnaround with some of our partnership approaches. And I think once we can be in a position to, really kind of industrialize that process and then push it out to a variety of different partners, like I'm sure we're all aware of, like there's some really big potential partners in this space. And I think if we get in there and are the first to maximize the kind of coverage, then it's pretty clear to me where the kind of the big wins for this project will be.
Hey, Jamie, maybe I can add to that a little bit, right? I guess if you kind of visualize a ritestream cinema in every metaverse, as metaverses expand and there's more metaverses being created and there's ritestream cinemas, and we become the vehicle to actually monetize content in the metaverse because we're kind of first out of the gate, we have got first mover advantage. But the other thing is utilization of our token to actually watch this content across these metaverses. And from an investor's point of view, that's what makes it worthwhile to say, I'm going to bet on this project now, because as they grow, as they go into every single metaverse and their content is being watched, you know, the next Hollywood blockbuster is going to be watched in a ritestream cinema, and people are going to pay for that with the right token. That's where it gets really interesting, and that's why folks should be investing in the project. Just to answer the question fairly directly.
Absolutely, to the point.
Yeah.
Right, let's see here. I think we're going to take one final question, and we'll end it there. Let's see. Okay. This one might be relevant possibly in the future. Don't know if this is something you guys would ever want to consider, but do you have any bug bounty program, check for weaknesses? In what way you plan on making the project more complete? I think that might be something maybe in the future that we can try to look into, a bug bounty program, sort of.
It's not the worst idea. No, I don't know what else. Like it's actually not. I mean, we were made aware of bugs without a bounty, so I don't know. I think people are generally quite keen to tell us about how many bugs.
I was going to say we're very lucky that we have a very vocal community that lets us know exactly when we're doing good and when we're not doing good, and we always get we're always here and we're always listening to you guys. So if there are any sort of issues, whether it's like a bug or if it's a problem with you have a question about the community, about the project, about anything, we're always available. We have the most amazing mods as well who are happy to help. I'm there. Our whole team's always there, always checking, always kind of viewing and seeing the discourse in our community. And we're always running events. In fact, we just ended recently our Movie Mania event on our Discord. There's always opportunities for fun, always opportunities for entertainment. Fun doesn't stop here, and it will always keep going as long as we have you guys, you ritestreamers, sticking around and supporting us. So, yeah. Right, gentlemen, I think we shall end it there.
I thought you said the fun doesn't stop here, Kenny.
It stops. It stops. Well, you got me. Okay, you got me. The fun will commence very shortly, and it will continue on Telegram.
On your Telegram channel, for sure.
Exactly. But physically here, yes, this is the part where we say farewell, not goodbye, because you will see us again soon. So, gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Thanks all. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
And thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye now.